Welcome to the MacroHabits podcast. I am your host, Hannah. I am so excited for today's episode. We're going to be diving right into one of my most asked questions over the past year, which we're going to get into. But first, I just want to say how excited I am to start this podcast. Episode 1, I have thought about doing a podcast for the last year. It's kind of been in the back of my head, and I don't know, I've always felt a little bit nervous about it. It feels a little bit more vulnerable. It's obviously another layer of work as well. And over the past couple months, I just had this feeling of, I think I'm nervous because I'm nervous to get out of my comfort zone. And as cliche as it sounds, you don't grow when you stay in your comfort zone. So although the podcast feels out of my comfort zone right now and there's nerves paired with excitement, but I am excited to have a platform where I can talk to you guys more openly, be a little bit more vulnerable, and just talk about all different types of topics. I want to talk about everything on this podcast, from health, fitness, tracking macros, obviously, wellness, and then also get into relationships, religion, spirituality, friendships. I turned 30 in December, so talking about how I've navigated my 20s, all of that stuff. So very excited about the MacroHabits podcast. And I also want to have a consistent element of every episode. I want to talk about a high and a low of the week. So my high this week is I have finalized my next workout program. It's called Curves and Core. I am so excited about this one. It's going to launch at the end of October. I've timed every workout. I've done every workout. This one, for these workouts, it should take you anywhere from 40 to 50 minutes. So it's a very efficient workout. I've talked about this a lot on my Instagram, but I really only like to lift for about 45 minutes. Anything past 50 minutes, I start to get kind of too sore after or bored. It's just not as, I don't look forward to it as much. So I really like an efficient 45-minute workout. And the split for this one is the same each week, but every workout is different. This is definitely more of a glute-focused workout program. The split is Monday is glute max, Tuesday core and biceps, Wednesday back and glutes, Thursday full upper body shred, Friday hamstrings, core and glutes. So I'm really excited for this one. I'll have more info on my Instagram, but end of October, this will launch, so you guys can all do it with me beginning of November. It'll be a good 4-week workout program to do during the month of November. So that's my high. My low, I was kind of debating on sharing this just because it's a little bit of a stress point for me. But like I said at the beginning of this, I'm working on just being more open, more vulnerable, just chatting with you guys more freely. And if you followed me for a minute on Instagram, you know that I have really struggled with acne. For some reason, it's just been a constant issue in my 20s. I feel like I'm always dealing with flare-ups. And before I did Accutane, I ended Accutane in April of this year. Before Accutane, it was really bad. I pretty much tried everything under the sun. I can do a whole other episode on my Accutane experience if that's something you guys are interested in hearing about. But recently, like in the past week or two, I've noticed like those little cystic nodules that come like underneath your jaw, kind of on top of your forehead. If you have acne, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't have acne, they're kind of like these, it's like cystic acne that never comes to the surface, but it's painful, it swells. And I've just noticed little ones. Like I'm still really happy with my skin right now, but I'm starting to notice those, and that just definitely is stressing me out a little bit. So I'm thinking about doing Accutane again. I'm unsure if I'm going to. If you've done Accutane twice, please DM me your experience. I've heard a lot of people say that 2 rounds really zaps it. So I'm kind of indifferent with what I'm going to do. I'm back and forth toggling between doing Accutane again or just maybe trying a different route of something, even though I feel like I've tried everything under the sun. But anyway, that's my low, as I'm feeling the little bits of acne coming back. But I'm really proud of myself because I'm not picking my skin. I have not picked my skin at all. I'm doing the positive affirmations, talking kindly about my skin. I really believe the energy you put out is energy you get. So even though I'm starting to feel some of these little, acne flare-ups come up, I'm not giving it energy, and hopefully it'll just go away. Anyway, back to the topic of this episode. So one of my most asked questions has been about my breast augmentation journey. And I've actually had 2 breast augmentations. I got my first one in 2022. I was 26, and then I got my second one a little over a year ago. I really didn't talk about my second one at all until a few months ago. I just wanted to get my second one and have my own experience with it and really be able to divulge into it deeper once a year had passed and I could really tell you guys the ins and out of if I'm happy with what I did, if I wish I would have done something differently. So this is where I'm at. I am a little over, like I said, a year out for my second one. I'm going to do a Q&A style for today's episode. So I've accumulated my most frequently asked questions about my breast augmentation, and I'm just going to go through and get really granular. I'm going to tell you guys all the details of everything, my first experience, my second experience. I'm also going to talk about how to track macros, or if you should track macros post-surgery, how I handled kind of that mental block that was really hard, because I feel like when you're used to working out, it's part of your routine, and then you cut it for 6 to 8 weeks, it is really hard to kind of mentally work through that. So I'm going to talk about that as well. And we're going to get right into it with my first question. Why did I decide to get a breast augmentation, and what was my starting point before getting my first one? So before getting my first one, I was a 34A, and I just have always had kind of a natural desire to get one. I wouldn't say it was something that was constantly on my mind, but in college, I kind of toggled back and forth with the idea. I was like, do I get one? I did go to one consultation when I was in college, but honestly, I wasn't in a financial place to do it, and I just wasn't all in yet. And then when I turned 26, I was definitely feeling like, okay, it's something I really want to do. I also want to note, I wasn't dating anyone during both my breast augmentations. I did this 100% for me, and I'm really happy that I did that. I feel like if you are going to do any type of cosmetic surgery, make sure you are doing it for you, because there are going to be people that are going to say negative things, that aren't going to like it. They're going to have your opinions. But if it's because you want to do it and you like your reasons for doing it, it really shouldn't matter what anyone else says. And to be completely honest, with my breast augmentations, I've gotten positive feedback and I've gotten negative feedback. And I really don't care about the negative feedback, because I'm so happy with what I did the second time around, and I like my reasons for doing it. So that's my advice. Make sure you're not, if you do something in the cosmetic realm or you're thinking about it, make sure you're doing it 100% for you. There's a saying like, you can be the juiciest, sweetest, ripest peach, and someone's still not gonna like peaches. So just take that with what it is and make sure you're doing it for you. Okay, what CC did you do the first time, and how was your first experience? Okay, my first surgery, like I said, I got it in 2022. I did 325cc over the muscle, moderate profile, through the nipple, silicone. So that was the data of my first surgery. And my first experience was good. I mean, hindsight's 2020. Looking back, I feel like I was really anxious to get it done. I was very excited. And one thing I wish I would have done differently is I watched a lot of like YouTube vlogs and inspo videos of girls who had gotten breast augmentations and shared their CCs and experience and everything. And I'm 5'10" and have an athletic frame. And I was watching girls' videos who were like 5'2" and 5 feet tall, 5'4", who had completely different builds and starting points than me. So their CC on them would look completely different on me. And I think at that point, I hadn't fully grasped that idea. Or that realization. So I wish I would have talked to people who were 5'10" who have gotten it, not like friends or acquaintances or YouTube vlogs of girls that were like 5'5", 5'4", because ultimately with my first one, I feel like I went a little bit too small for my frame. And I know I'm going to get questions on going in through the nipple part. So that's where the incision is. So you can get your incision like underneath your armpit, underneath the implant. I think you can also get it like through your belly button. And you can also get it right underneath your nipples. They make a small incision underneath. And it's nice because you have no scars. The scar dissolves into the edge of your nipple. Sorry, this is like very graphic, but I told you guys, I'm getting granular, sharing all the details. And the only downside of that is it does make it does cause numbness that can last 3 to 4 months, or it can last years. So that's kind of like the one downside of it. But I was really happy that I did that. I love how I have no scars underneath, and it was a seamless process both times I did it. So my first experience, kind of just wrapping up that thought, was good, but I did go to a surgeon in Beverly Hills, and I went to a very expensive surgeon. It was a very Beverly Hills experience. If you can think about what comes to your mind when you think of a Beverly Hills surgery center, that's kind of like what it was. It was very glamorous, pristine, sterile, like a little bit glitzy and glammy. They kind of upsell you a little. I remember he mentioned fat grafting to me in my consultation. And I don't know, I just feel like it was a good first experience, but compared to my second, I had a much better experience my second. So the worst part about my first one was I projectile vomited when I woke up from anesthesia. That was my first surgery I ever had, and my body did not like the anesthesia. So that was gnarly. That was like the worst part, honestly. The recovery of the first one was pretty chill. I laid low for the first day, and I started walking. I think on day 4, I started to go on more like outdoor walks. And it was good. I was very stressed out about losing progress during my first one. And I'm going to touch on that in a later question. But overall, my first experience was fine, but my second one was definitely a lot better. Okay, why did I get a second breast augmentation? So with my first one, like I said, I kind of feel like I went too small, but what I also did wrong is I started lifting upper body pretty heavy right at the 6-week mark. And I wish my original surgeon would have given me more caution with that, because I just thought, okay, like I can work out as normal. I'm so excited to hit the weights. And I didn't adjust how I lifted at all, especially with like chest movements. Like I was still doing a full chest day once a week. And I think that definitely caused the lateral separation. So basically what happened is my implants started to go towards my armpits. It wasn't this major dramatic shift. It was a very gradual shift over time, and they didn't look bad necessarily, but I lost all top cleavage, and there was a lot of separation in between both my implants, which I didn't love, because if I wanted them to like be perky, like the way you kind of want them to be when you spend the money to get a breast augmentation, I would have to wear a certain bra. And I just was frustrated. They were like really starting to set laterally. And I think that was obviously caused because I was kind of working out too intensely. And then the next thing is I started to have really bad rippling. And a little rippling is normal here and there, especially if you have thinner skin, which I do. But what happens is the implant really shows through your skin. And so you could see like the bag of the implant when I was in a bikini. The rippling got worse and worse as time went on. And so once I was at the point where I was like in a bikini and feeling a little bit self-conscious because you could like see the implant bag through my skin, I was like, okay, I'm ready to get a breast revision, or is this something that's just always going to happen? If I get another one, is this going to happen eventually too? Like, is this just how implants sit on my body? I had all these questions. And I ended up going to a surgeon in Northern California. I got recommended to him by my friend Cam. Shout out Cam. She's the best. And she had a really good experience with him. And so I ended up going in for a consultation with him, which I'll talk about in a later question. I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, what CC are you now and what are the details? This is my most asked question. I have gotten this DM honestly hundreds of times of what CC am I? And I've just been a little bit nervous to share just because I remember in my consultation with my second surgeon, he told me the CC that I would need to go to achieve the look that I wanted. And I kind of was like, whoa, that's like crazy. Like that feels very big. Like I haven't heard someone go that CC before. But he reassured me, like, because you're 5'10", you have an athletic frame, this is going to look completely different on you than it would on a girl who's 5'2". So I am 590 cc over the muscle, silicone implant, went in through the nipple, and I got Galaflex. So that is my current breast augmentation details. And the Galaflex is something that has been a game changer. Like, if you are in the market or inquiring about getting a breast augmentation and you work out a lot, I would 100% recommend doing the Galaflex internal bra. It's really helped my implants stay where they're at, and it's been over a year and they haven't moved. I am so happy that I did the Galaflex. It basically supports the tissue while your body is healing. It naturally, gradually replaces the scaffolding with the natural tissue. So it just really helps hold that implant in place as you're working out, as you're healing. And I would 100% recommend it. that's been a game changer for me. So I would highly recommend it. Also, I have lifted differently. So I waited after my second one, I waited like, I think a full 8 weeks before I did upper body. I started working out 6 weeks post-op, and then I started to slowly incorporate the upper body. And I really don't do heavy chest anymore at all. I have chest movements in my workout programs, but I will either lift very, very light or I'll just swap it out with a different upper body exercise. But I don't really chest press anymore. And I wouldn't recommend doing chest movements if you do get a breast augmentation, if you are worried about like lateral separation. Obviously, your surgeon knows best. You can go off the recommendation of your surgeon. But I just know for me, it's really helped with that issue. Like I have no lateral separation. I don't really have any rippling either, which I'm really happy about. So my second surgery has just been it was such a good experience, honestly. It was so easy. One thing I loved about my second surgeon is he really involved me in the process and explained exactly what he needed to do for my vision to come to fruition. Like I told him I definitely wanted to go a little bit bigger, and I wanted more top cleavage. I wanted them to be closer together, and I didn't want any rippling or like lateral separation. And he basically said, okay, you need to go, 590, 600 cc. We need to do the internal bra. He liked the eye. He would go in through the nipple again just because I already had an incision there. And also the staff at my surgeon's office, his name is Dr. Freed. I don't know if I said that, but I'll have his website linked down below. His staff and his nurses were so kind. Like they really treated me like their own kids before the surgery and during the consultation. And it just was such an easy process. I just felt like very loved while I was going through that whole process, which I think is important because it's scary getting surgery. It's scary getting any type of surgery. And especially with a breast revision, I was just like, I really hope that I'm going to get the results that I want. I paid full price for both surgeries, and I'm just so happy that I did the second one with Dr. Freed. He's amazing. And if you're in Northern California or are willing to travel for it, I would 100% recommend him and his staff. Okay, did I do fat grafting? No. I have never done fat grafting, lipo, air sculpt, cool sculpting. The only surgeries I've had are my 2 breast augmentations. I've gotten quite a few like negative comments and DMs saying like, why don't you tell people you do fat grafting or you've done that? Like, I've never done anything like that. I would be very honest about that if I did do that. And although fat grafting is a very easy option with getting a breast augmentation, it wasn't something that I felt comfortable with. And although when my first surgeon said to me, I remember him being like, we could fat graft this area and this area. And I kind of was like, oh, that would be really nice. Like, that'd be nice just to kind of zap that. And I'm not against fat grafting or lipo at all. Like, you should do what you want to do. But it didn't resonate with me. And I felt if I did the fat grafting with the first one, I would have to like be very transparent about that, which I would. And I was like, I don't want to do it. And I just felt like for my business with how I've achieved body recomp through tracking macros, consistency, and working out, I just wanted that to be the only thing that I did to achieve body recomp besides my breast augmentation. So the only surgeries I've had are 2 breast augmentations. I'm glad we're clearing that up now so people on the internet can stop accusing me of that, because I'm like, no, I just work so hard. I'm consistent. I work out every day. I'm dialed with my routine and food and eating. And I have seen a very big body recomposition change over the past couple years from consistency in all those areas. Okay. Are you afraid of breast implant illness? Honestly, no. I remember when I was looking into getting a breast augmentation, I did hear about that and I did a little research, and I honestly just always had a really good gut feeling about getting a breast augmentation. So I wasn't super nervous about it. I haven't had any symptoms of breast implant illness, although I know it is like a real thing that people go through. And I think I would say more recently, just from what I've been served on my feed, or just what I've noticed, is there's been a lot of women getting explant surgeries and telling about their story of breast implant illness, which I think they have every right to do, and everyone should be able to share their experience. But I just never have been super worried about it, and I haven't had any symptoms of it at all, which I'm grateful for, but it was never a big area of concern for me. How was my recovery for both? Was I worried about losing muscle or gaining weight? Okay, so I really want to talk about this question in depth because my first surgery, I was so scared about gaining weight, losing muscle. I remember just being so stressed out the week before, like going double time in the gym, really trying to push my body because I was like, I'm not gonna be able to work out for 6 weeks and I'm gonna lose all my progress. And if I could go back, I would obviously have a whole different mindset, the mindset that I had with my second surgery. But that mindset I had with my first one did no good. I was very stressed out after that first surgery. And I remember just wanting to be able to work out, but obviously not working out because I wanted my, implants to heal the way that they were supposed to heal. And ultimately, nothing really changed. I didn't gain weight. I didn't lose a ton of muscle. I didn't lose anything that anyone would notice. Maybe there was like a little bit of a definition change in some areas that I noticed. We are all our worst critic. We all hyperfixate on ourselves. And so I feel like I maybe noticed a little bit of a change, but there was nothing substantial. And after a few weeks of working out, once I was cleared to work out, I really felt like myself. I felt like my body looked really good. I didn't have any major like muscle atrophy or these like fears that I had. And with my second surgery, I had a whole different mindset. I had a whole different protocol. So my mindset with my second surgery was, okay, I am really going to lean into the recovery. I'm going to lean into this restful time that my body is going to have. I am pretty hard on my body. Like I work out a lot. I lift, I walk outside, I do Pilates. Like I'm very active. You make a lot of tiny little tears in your muscles when you work out. And if you don't allow those tiny little tears to heal, it can develop into injuries or puffiness, inflammation, all of that stuff. So I just took the opportunity with my second surgery to have the mindset of I'm going to let my body fully heal. I'm going to repair all these little tiny tears in my muscles and really lean into the recovery aspect. I didn't track macros my second surgery, so I didn't track for about 6 weeks. I just feel like tracking macros is amazing. Obviously, I have built a business on it, but there's a time and a place to track. And I feel that after a surgery like that, when I'm unable to work out, tracking macros would only stress me out because I wouldn't be able to maximize my results in the kitchen with results in the gym. And ultimately, I just decided I'm going to have more of an 80-20 approach and be aware of my protein. I've honestly just like trained myself to eat protein at this point. I crave protein. I love protein. It's so important. I feel like it's talked about a lot nowadays, which is good because it's so important. And my focus with food with my second surgery was a lot of protein and the 80-20 approach, like 80% healthy foods, 20%, unhealthy foods or whatever you want to categorize that as. But I really just tried to stick to whole foods and my kind of normal eating routine with very high protein. And then I would say the biggest, like if you have a surgery or just in general, one of the things that helped me most post-surgery was hydration. And I feel like hydration is thrown around so frequently that it's kind of lost its importance. It is so important. And after I had my second surgery, I was pounding water. I was drinking my electrolytes. I was drinking my greens. I would drink dandelion root tea in the morning, peppermint tea at night. And it really helped me so much. I feel like when you have surgery, you have some bloating, some inflammation, some indigestion, coming out of anesthesia with pain meds, like all of that stuff kind of messes you up for a minute. So being dialed with my hydration was key and it really helped me like lose that puffiness pretty quick. And then I just, like I said, focused on the high protein foods, lots of hydration, and I did a lot of outdoor walks. I walked a lot after my second surgery. I just do like multiple walks a day and that really helped like the mental part of not being able to work out. So I would encourage you, if you have a surgery coming up that's cosmetic or just a surgery that you have to get done, don't stress about tracking macros. Don't stress about hitting your macros. Focus on the hydration and eating high protein and resting and letting your body actually heal, like letting all those tiny tears actually heal. Would I recommend my surgeon? I kind of touched on this earlier. 100% yes. Dr. Fried's amazing. Loved my experience with him. So good. Do I have any regrets with my second one, or do I wish I would have done something differently? So obviously with my first one, I wish I would have done some things differently. I wish I would have gone bigger. I wish I would have done the Galaflex originally. And I probably wouldn't go to my first surgeon again just based on my second experience with Dr. Freed. But I have zero regrets with my second one. I am so happy with everything, very happy with the results. I've had zero issues. There's a lot of, everyone does different things with a breast augmentation based on their starting point, their workout routine, what their surgeon recommends. There's a lot of little technicalities that goes into a breast augmentation. So I would say always listen to your surgeon, but I'm really happy that I went over the muscle, especially with working out. And I'm happy I did the in the nipple incision, and I'm really happy with the size that I went. So that is my breast augmentation journey. I hope that I answered all of your guys' questions with that. If you have any other questions about it, you can always DM me or drop a comment down below. And also, if you are listening to this and you have something you really want me to talk about, please shoot me a DM or drop a comment. I want to make sure that I'm talking about things that you guys want to listen to. And like I said, I'm just excited to talk about a little bit of everything. I touched on this at the beginning of the episode, but I worked really hard in therapy to be more vulnerable, be more open. I've maintained a very professional and private stance on social media, which I'm happy about, but I feel like I'm at the point now where I'm ready to open up more to you guys and just connect with my community more and just be more open in general. So I'm excited for this podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you guys next week.